And voila. Okay, I think we are live. Hello?
What's up, man? What's up?
Hello, everyone. Is the stream on?
Not yet, not yet. So it's live, but it's like it's in that intro video. Does that make sense?
Okay, let me see.
Yeah, it's good. We can just wait a little bit.
See.
It's
Okay,
in
there we
that
go. I
intro
think we're live.
video. Does that make sense?
We're live now. Okay, let me see.
Yeah, it's all right. Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah.
There we go. So, hello everyone.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Zia Symbol podcast. We're live on fucking Rumble.
Hell yeah. So, it's been a quite a while. It's actually been quite a while since we last streamed. Holy shit, when was the last time?
It's been a good minute, man. Unfortunately, it's been a good minute.
Damn.
But we're back on it, and we have personal lives. You know, we got personal lives. We don't follow Trump and Putin like fucking dogs.
No, no, no. I mean, personally, like I was actually in Brussels for a week, and then I was actually in Narbonne for another week. So I've actually been like moving around.
Well, catch me up, man. Where you been? How was Brussels? You fucking commie.
Man, okay. So I've been extremely busy with work because I work at the Chamber of International Relations, and like a lot of my work is really like there's a little bit of diplomacy going on. Like the other day, I actually like helped like receive like a delegation from the Lebanon.
Okay.
And there was also like a visit by the what is that thing called? By the Minister of Tourism of Nepal, who actually came to visit Chambéry, you know,
Dude, that's
because
sick. That's sick.
yeah, and that was actually interesting because both Chambéry and Nepal, they're both like both mountain regions, so there's kind of like both a commercial and also like a tourist and cultural sharing going on because there's actually a strong tradition of like a mountain climbing here.
Okay, cool, cool. And so you probably have they're probably a sister city, right?
Yeah, so that is in French it's called the jumelage, which is like the twinning of cities, and Chambéry is really like all about that. Like we have like jumelage with like different cities from like Morocco, Germany, Spain, China, and so that actually like forms part of that.
Gotcha, gotcha. Cool, cool, man. Yo, Pedro, is it possible to maybe change your tile view on Brave so that you can see me?
Let's see.
You do the three dots and then you're gonna hit enter tile view.
Where?
You're gonna hit the three dots like you're gonna see like the red icon to end the call, and then right by it's gonna be three dots on Brave.
Yeah, yeah, I got it. And
You're gonna hit enter tile view.
invite people, performance and views, security, start live stream, share audio, extra noise, select background part. I don't see any of that.
You don't see like four squares.
For squares, nope.
What the fuck? Are you serious? Okay, hold on, hold up.
Like view shortcuts.
Uh, oh no, no. So yeah, you don't have it, bro. I don't see that you have it. Go to settings.
Yeah, this is settings.
Okay, settings, and then view full screen security. Start the. Okay, so you know where it says the two, the number two on the
Yeah,
bottom, like get out of there.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, do you see those four squares right there?
Four squares. Let's see.
Not in there. It's like where the on the bottom bar, on the bottom bar,
I don't
the
see any.
horizontal bar. Like get out of there.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Like this?
So yeah, okay. So go to the other. No, go down to where you were.
Yeah.
You know where the red icon is?
Yeah, yeah, like to leave the meeting.
Yeah. Now scroll to those four tiles.
Here is.
I think that's invite someone. Get out of there.
Yeah, I don't see anything.
Okay, so hit the yeah, right there, right there, right there. Perfect.
Participant stats?
No, no, no. You can leave it right there, but I will say just share your screen like normal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like my I'm sharing my screen at the stream actually. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. And I don't know why my camera is not working. Like here it actually says that it's on. Like I have like the little light on the camera, but it doesn't work well. So
Gotcha. Well, if anything, share your screen. Let's go over the news. Let's go over the news.
all right, share screen is shared, and we are le monde. We can even see it in French if you want to practice some French. Let's see. French company shot by letter from U.S. Embassy in Paris demanding they respect Trump's anti-diversity policy. That is bullshit. In Greenland, J.D. Vance attacks Denmark but rules out military operation. That's kind of interest. Hundreds of thousands protest in Turkey to defend democracy. I don't know. Is there anything
Well,
you like to cover?
well, yeah. I think we should cover a little bit of um, you know, there's obviously the if you go to Reuters, if you go to Reuters,
There we go.
so
Well, that's a tragedy. Holy shit.
So yeah, there was a Myanmar quake death that told past 1,600 as junta lets in foreign rescuers. There's obviously a lot of um, this is intense because the thing with Southeast Asia is that they don't have wars or they don't have cartels. Well, I mean they have cartel syndicates, but they experience a lot of earthquakes. They experience a lot of natural disasters, and I think that's why they're so damn efficient, bro. They just know it's coming. They know it's coming.
I mean, I don't know because first of all, there's actually like a civil war going in Myanmar. I don't know if people are not very well aware of it, but after like the coup that happened like certain years ago, there's been like a war going on in Myanmar that it's actually like many like different factions. Amongst them, like some of them are like liberals, some of them are like communists, some of them are religious, who are pretty much like rebel against like the military junta in Myanmar.
Well, that's Myanmar. Do you think we should be helping them? Do you think we should send aid?
Uh, Fuck me,
Well,
dude.
I mean, not y'all, but because you're in the EU, but for
The relationship between Europe and Asia. That's the thing we do need to consider is that Europe doesn't really have as the same reach as America does. You know, we could try to do like some financial sanction, or maybe like try to like broker down a peace deal. But fundamentally speaking, just because of like the position of America as like the grand hegemon, at least today, it is pretty much impossible to like know. It Europe does not really have that much of a reach. Like it doesn't even have a reach like in Africa or the Middle East. At least
okay.
not as much as they probably wish they could have.
Well, let me read you this on the UK website, The Independent. It says that President Trump pledged U.S. support for Southeast Asia following a devastating earthquake. So, um, with all the foreign cuts, going down, the U.S. aid and all this stuff, I think there's going to be a whole different. I think the Trump administration brought in the turning page of a new wave of government mixed with a technocratic perspective, and I think foreign relations. Ever since Trump got into office, foreign relations has changed.
No, absolutely. And I mean, something that I do want to tell to like Europeans in here, especially with like the election of Trump and like the whole situation in regards to Ukraine, is that that is actually something that has been coming from quite a while. I mean, like the complaint that, for example, like the American government makes in regards to like the lack of military expenditure by European countries, it's actually a complaint that has existed from like the Bill Clinton administration. You know, and I think that what we're observing is pretty much just an acceleration of American shift from Europe towards Asia. Because I think the Americans are far more worried about like China than they are of like Russia.
I agree. I agree. I think China's gonna hop on this as well. There's obviously um, a lot of geopolitical tension going on right there. Um, I I think I think Trump brought in a whole different wave, and I think the Europeans are changing their perspectives. The Japanese are changing their perspectives. Um, I'm not trying to like elevate Trump, but I'm just saying that after decades of pussy ass shit, now we have a little bit of order, a little bit of, and that order comes with hard decisions. But
Mm,
I'm glad to see Trump still giving aid to Myanmar despite, his take on foreign relations right now.
mm.
Um, and I think people are going to see him as a little bit hypocritical, but I say fuck him. Give Myanmar the aid and let's beat China to it.
No, pretty much. If I'm not mistaken, like China has actually been one of like the countries that has like supported like the rebel groups, particularly helping like the groups that are of like greater like communist current, you know? So I'm actually surprised that this war has not taken more of a proxy war approach, you know? Now, that could be in part because America does not really want to touch Southeast Asia, especially after the disaster of like the Vietnam War. But I do wonder if, for example, like if the American government will actually start like helping like the junta.
Yeah, the well, just in recent times, China has pretty much supported the junta. Um, after they seized power. So I think China is definitely going to look into this. The junta and the war in Myanmar is just so interesting because it has to deal with China. You know,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know. That could be also a second Vietnam. So I say we tread lightly.
I mean, I wonder, you know, it's like China and Myanmar, China and Myanmar war. I wonder what is their da 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 da. Rebels disrupt China, rare air trade, sparking regional scramble. Okay, you're actually right. I was wrong. It does seem that it does seem like yeah, like China does prefer like the junta, and probably so does America. I don't know. I am not very familiar with the whole Myanmar
Yeah.
wars situation.
Well, right here it says that Myanmar is important to the U.S. because um, they tried to maintain good relations with Burma, previous Burma, but I guess the U.S. has interest because of the Bay of Bengal and that it borders both India and China. But
Mm,
I mean, I I'm not really sure. I'm not really too familiar with Southeast Asia's geopolitics.
yeah, no, that is something. I mean, here I'm reading this article saying, Insight: Myanmar rebels disrupt China rare earth trade, sparking regional scramble. And it goes in when armed rebels seized northern Myanmar's rare earth mining belt in October, they dealt a blow to the country's embattled military junta and wrestled control of a key global resource. So it is actually curious, like how actually this ties down to like also like resources going on.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Um, where's that article from?
Reuters.
Okay, yeah,
Uh,
they're
infra-
confidable. I confide in them. Reuters
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
good.
The key EA is seeking leverage against neighboring China, which supports the junta and has invested heavily in rare earths mining in Myanmar Kachin state, according to two people familiar with the matter. Chinese imports of rare earth oxides and compound from Myanmar dropped to 311 metric tons in February, down 89%. Jesus. Compared to the year ago period, according to Chinese custom data that hasn't been previously
Repeat that.
reported,
89 what?
89%. Like, yeah, that is actually a big blow. Jesus.
Jeez. Yeah, dude. This is wild, bro. I, God bless him. God bless him. This it's gonna be rough. Do you have a little bit of video to see? You see that video
Let's see.
right there on Reuters?
Yeah, yeah, I see it now. But I think this. Well, now we're watching an advertisement. Uh, so you can do like ads. Okay, there we go. Skip ads.
From a powerful earthquake in neighbouring Myanmar. Khao
That's
Noi
pretty
was at
wild,
another
man.
site at the time, and when she tried to call her sister, there was no connection.
I'm in shock. I never thought it would be this building, and I didn't think my sister was working.
Yeah, it's about like the earthquake and yeah, man,
Yo, man, that is sad, bro. That is sad.
it is sad.
But I think we move on from Myanmar and have let's go all the way to Latin America. What do you think about Bukalele's fucking moment with AI where he asked AI who was the most popular president?
I don't know. I did not see that. Let's see, South American news. If actually we want South America, we could go to Le Mundo. Oh, Le Mundo. El Mundo.
Yeah, he asked Grok who is the world's most popular president, and Grok replied that it is Claudia Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico.
Hmm. I'm not surprised to be honest. Let's see.
Dude, that is funny.
Oh my god, this bloody ads, mate.
Yo, where we at? Where we at?
We're watching. I need to put like the translator Spanish to English so that people can actually read it. We're actually at El Mundo. For those who don't know, like El Mundo is one of the big like newspapers in Spain, which is our version of Le Monde, but I guess like lower quality.
Lower quality.
Yeah, yeah, like the Spanish press is trash compared to the French one. I'm not gonna lie. I have to give like
Dude,
the
the French are good, man. The French are good with their their periodism.
no, yeah, they're way better. Like here in Spain is way too toxic to be honest. You know. But let's see. Bolsonaro will sit in the dock accused of leading a coup d'état against Lula and he steers it is a theater. Oh yeah, we always forget that Brazil is a country.
Dude, Brazil is the fucking biggest country in South America. How dare you?
Yeah, but their soccer team is trash now, so it doesn't really matter.
Bro, what do you think about Bolsonaro, bro? Dude, he's interesting, man. His situation is so interesting.
I don't really have like an opinion in him. I just know that he's actually very controversial, and that's about it. Like I think he used to be like in the military. He ran on like
He,
an anti-corruption platform.
yeah, he's going on trial for the coup, man.
Yeah, yeah. I'll be to be honest. I mean, I am aware like it happened. Like for those who don't know, there was like a similar situation that happened in Brazil, similar to like January 6th, in which like Bolsonaro supporters actually like broke into like the legislative building of Brazil. So that
Yeah,
is insane.
dude. I think it's safe to say with wiggle room that Bolsonaro is Trump, the Trump of Brazil, and he may be a douche, he may be a douchebag, but the thing is that the homie has a point, dude. Brazil has been fucked over by the left government throughout the pretty much their entire existence of the country. That's debatable, of course, but we do know that the neoliberal left let in all the companies to extract resources from the Amazon.
I mean, it will appear so. I'm not that familiar actually with like Brazilian history. The thing that from I understood is that Brazil used to have a president who was like a right-leaning president who did lead to like the liberalization of the economy, kind of similar to like what Javier Milei did. And maybe that actually worked, but afterwards, like Brazil was part of like what is called like the pink tide, which was when South America was actually going through like a very strong like transformative period as many like left-wing presidents were elected. That's why it was called like the pink tide, and that's where you have like Rafael Correa of Ecuador, Hugo Chavez of Venezuela, Da Silva of Argentina. You can also, sorry, of Brazil,
Yeah,
Kirchner could
and
be,
also yeah, you mentioned him, right? The Peruvian guy, Castillo.
Pedro Castillo, albeit that was actually like after the pink tide. And that, yeah, Castillo did not last very long because he actually attempted to do a coup. So he's actually under arrest as we speak.
Bro, I think one of the greatest Latin American presidents. This is controversial as fuck, but we're on Rumble, so thank God. But dude, Chavez wasn't bad. Chavez
Bro,
was a
shut the
G.
fuck up.
Chavez
Dude,
was a G, dude.
no, 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 bro. Seriously, no. Okay. He's the reason why the Venezuela is actually in shambles. You know, like
Well,
he's evil. You know, like he's really like he
well,
has pretty much fucked
he
over like
dude.
the life of every single Venezuelan. He's actually the reason
Okay,
why Venezuela is actually in the shambles it is.
let me reword that. He's a G for calling out President Bush and his aerial piracy, bro. That's what he said. Evo Morales and Hugo Chavez, they called out neoconservative fucking warmongers, even though they were warmongers themselves.
Yeah, like that's the thing is like at the same time, like Chavez was also like aiding like Colombian guerrillas like entering into like the what is it called? Like entering into Venezuela, who were using like the country as a base of operation in order to like hide from the Colombian government, and that was actually during like the Alvaro Uribe government. And okay, that's what something that people need to understand. You can completely be critical of like some of like the actions that are made, but like the foreign policy of the United States, and I absolutely agree. I do believe that Afghanistan and Iraq were absolutely disastrous. So was Vietnam. But the problem is that then that can actually be taken by people who do not have like the best interests of the country at heart, you know. And fundamentally speaking, Chavez was pretty much like the most corrupt president in the history of Venezuela. He embezzled like billions of dollars from like the oil company in Venezuela. He's the reason why we had like the high inflationary periods in which we reached like millions of percentage, like surpassing even Zimbabwe, and also the reason why we pretty much are a dictatorship nowadays.
Yeah, yeah. No, he was a disaster, man. Who do you think is the G right now, a legitimate gangster in South American politics. Obviously, Bukelele is right there.
I would say, yeah,
Uh,
like
Lay is right there as well.
I would say just because Milei is like pretty much like the de facto leader of Mercosur as we speak, and
Yeah,
because of his
for
philosophy
sure.
of, free trade, free markets, and all of that,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's
Medical food has a lot to do with European, um, you know. So I can see why y'all are. Uh, I can see why y'all are interested in what happens in South America. You know.
I mean, okay, my position on Millet is that yes, he's a liberal, and yes, he is pretty much a lot of the time like of the opinion that like inequality is not a bad thing, whatnot, which I disagree with. But his position of wanting to actually engage on a free market treaty with Europe is probably one of the greatest attempts of wealth redistribution at a global level.
So, are you saying that the wealth distribution is going to go towards the wave of South America or towards Europe,
I would say that
or pretty equal?
it really depends on how you see it. It depends on like the sectors and depends on like the what we're talking about. The reason why Mercosur is so controversial here in Europe, like yeah, like for example, I'm in charge of, for example, right now of like helping in like the creation of like a debate about like foreign aid, and I was actually told that I cannot touch Mercosur because it is very controversial, especially because of like the agricultural sector in Europe, especially France, Spain, and Poland, and Italy. Because fundamentally speaking, a Mercosur deal will actually benefit European countries with a strong industrial base, like Germany or Sweden. Yeah.
Yeah, no, 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 definitely. I so that's another topic for another day. Hey, did you see the links I sent you?
Did you send me a link?
Yeah, in the chat.
Eh, Um, X bricks. These are from Twitter. Which one do you want me to open first? The Twitter one or the Popular Front one?
In the Brave chat.
I do actually have Twitter. I do not have Instagram on my computer right now. I need to. I've been for some reason I cannot log into it, so I'm gonna get on Twitter.
Okay, no, no worries, man. If you can just, we can go one of those, one that you can get in. But I wanted to show you something on the bricks one. I'm gonna open it on my tab, and I'm gonna tell you. So, bricks countries have obviously have risen from the ground up. So, what do you think about? Okay, dude, Russia tested a laser. Let's go to Russia and Ukraine. Let's switch to Russia and Ukraine.
What do you want me to look for?
Are you which one can you get into? The Instagram one or the X one?
I'm in the X one.
Or you're in the X one. Okay. Do you see that when it says the Russia tests new laser rifle?
I mean, there's like a bunch of stuff in here.
Are you on the BRICS page?
Yeah, I'm in the X Twitter page.
Oh, okay. So it's called BRICS News. It's like BRICS News.
Yeah, yeah, and there's like different news going on.
Well, there's one from 7 hours ago. It says Russia tests new laser rifle.
Latest one I see is from March 4, actually.
What the heck? Are you sure? Are you on BRICS page? The link that I sent you?
Yeah, the Twitter one.
Okay. Go up, go all the way up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, sorry, man, there's nothing here.
Okay, let me send you the link again.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you the link again. Cause this is wild, bro.
Oh my god.
There it is.
Okay, I think I see it now. Lateral air defense against drones. That looks
Do
interesting.
you see that? That you
Yeah,
see that? Was that just one take?
I mean, it's really hard to know what is going on here just because it's like, what is that? It could be also like a bullet, you know? It could be a, I don't know, man. Like this Twitter page is kind of fishy. But
Well,
maybe I'm just too Western aligned. That's the thing.
well, I mean, it's like maybe how can I say? It's maybe like close to Popular Front. That's how I found it through. I found it through Popular Front.
Hmm.
Um, but so it just has good stuff, like right here it says U.S. airstrikes kill Ab Khalik al Houthi, brother of the Houthi leader.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and 18 hours ago, Ukrainian President Zelensky rejects U.S. President Trump's new mineral deal that would recognize military aid as loans. Obviously, that's nothing new, but they keep trying to make that deal.
I mean, the thing, I if I was Ukraine, I would not accept that deal with America. At least not with like at the very least Ukraine needs to be able to like join NATO after the war.
That's a heavy statement.
I know, but I mean I think that that is pretty much like the only way to like guarantee like peace in the long term.
Yo, man, can you go to Popular Front?
I do not have Instagram on my computer.
Okay. No, no, you're good. You're good. Um, so I think I think we should go on YouTube.
All right,
Okay, go to Ukraine News.
Ukrainians,
Ukraine News.
Ukraine news. There we go.
Okay, and there should be one that says Fox News.
Oh, bro.
It's about Putin and Trump on Greenland. This one's pretty funny, dude.
Putin on Trump on Greenland.
Yeah. Do you see it?
Putin threatens Trump on effort to acquire Greenland. I will not allow encroachment. This one?
Dude, that's pretty interesting, man. That's interesting. But that's just Western media. They put threat in there for a reason.
You don't watch this video? Hello? Orlando?
Like touch on. I just think it's interesting that the war is being taken to the Arctic now.
Oh yeah. You want to watch this video or
No, we can keep scrolling X or we can go to another news source. It don't matter.
all right.
Yeah,
I mean
whatever.
I mean yeah, pretty much because in the Arctic I mean this is like a criticism that I do need to make against Trump. And I do believe that it is pretty much unnecessary for the United States to actually annex Greenland, especially because Greenland and both Denmark have pretty much accepted that hey, you can actually like expand your military usage of the land if necessary, because America already has military bases in there. So the whole concept of like Greenland annexation, I, it's not so much that it is bad, it's more like I just think it is unnecessary, and I don't understand like why America insists on it.
Yeah, yeah. So Putin made a point. Right here, I'm on the AP News, but he said that he made a point that the United States first considered planned to win control over Greenland in the 19th century, and
Hmm?
that they offered it to buy from Denmark after World War II. So I guess it's nothing like too new, right? But Putin said it can look surprising only at first glance, and it would be wrong to believe that it is some sort of extravagant talk by the current US administration. It's obvious that the United States will continue to systematically advance its geostrategic, military, political, and economic interests in the Arctic.
Exactly. Absolutely. I guess people just are kind of shocked just because the thing is that Trump, he does like diplomacy. You know, he's more of a businessman, like a New York businessman, and you know how it is in New York. It is like very rash, very direct. That's just how they behave. So the way he says it, and I will say that the way you say something is more important than what you say in the first place. You know, is pretty much what is pretty much like causing like some sort of like nervousness at the international level. But you're right, like a lot of this is actually not new.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's interesting that there's not really that much countries near the Arctic, right? It's Canada, Denmark, Greenland, Finland, Iceland, Norway, Russia, Sweden, and the United States, aka Alaska. So um, there's not a lot of countries, but lest we forget that China is heavily involved in the Arctic. They are not near the Arctic, but dude, they fucking made it there, man.
Yeah, I mean, China definitely is in the same way that America is kind of associated with like oil. Like the me. Like I heard that there was oil, and America goes there.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, dude, don't open a fucking fresh bottle of oil, man.
But I will also say that that is actually what is pretty much happening, like with China and like rare earth minerals. You know,
So, do you think the race to the Arctic is gonna stoke another war, man?
I think that the race of the Arctics has been happening already for quite a while. You know, like you said, America tried to buy like Greenland from Denmark like a while ago, well, like after World War II. I would say that just because of like the increased demand of like rare earth minerals and like the recent increase in tensions with Russia, I would say that there's no doubt that both America and Russia are actually very interested in that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think they're gonna fucking throw hands, bro. As the kids say, they're gonna throw hands.
I mean, this is where, like I would say that America actually has the advantage because they could have just pretty much easily, like, just sit down with the Danish government and, reach a deal for American exclusivity in regards to the exploitation of rare earth minerals and also like an expansion of military presence in I do think that Trump made a blunder with his rashness, with his how do you say it? With his with his rashness and his way of being. And all that pretty much has caused was like a de-alienation by of its allies.
Yeah, yeah, totally, man. And I'm gonna send you a link, bro. It's just an article, but I think it's pretty interesting, man. It says Putin suggests putting Ukraine under UN sponsored external governance. What the fuck, dude?
Do you send me the link?
Yeah, on Brave Chat.
Brave chat. This is Associated Press putting Ukraine under UN-sponsored external governance. Oh wow.
Dude, so I'm gonna read it real quick. Russian President Putin proposed Friday to temporarily put Ukraine under external governance as part of efforts to reach a peaceful settlement, and remarks that reflected the Kremlin's leader determination to achieve his war goals.
Hmm.
Um, so, dude, this pretty much means that the agreement signs with the current Ukrainian government would be challenged by. Wait, wait. What does it say? Under the auspices of the United Nations within the United States, even the European countries, and of course with our partners and friends, we could discuss the possibility of introduction of temporary governments in Ukraine. It would allow the country to hold democratic elections. That's why the motherfucker wants to do that, because it would hold elections.
Yeah. I do wonder is that, oh, I mean, it is kind of, it is tricky, it is actually kind of tricky because this will be actually like, what will be the message of this proposal, you know? Kind of like saying that the Ukrainian government is illegitimate and it needed like a transition, you know, in the first place. Or another thing is that it is also kind of hard to reject this because it will mean that Russia will not actually be directly involved in the elections, but hopefully it will actually be like a international team. However, I highly doubt that the Ukrainians will actually accept this. Or maybe they will, because right now I do believe that the Ukrainians are actually pretty much war fatigued.
Yeah, they're war weary for sure. And what do you think about this statement? It's in the same article. It says Putin's remarks come hours after the conclusion of a summit hosted by your daddy Macron that considered plans to deploy troops to Ukraine to cement an eventual peace deal. Macron said several other nations want to be part of the force alongside France and Britain. Um, it says Russia has warned it would not accept any troops from NATO members as part of a prospective peacekeeping force. The UK Prime Minister Starmer said that they're playing games and they're playing for time. So, what do you think, Matt? Are they playing for time? What do you think? What do you think is going on?
Okay, it's one thing that, for example, that you do here in Brussels, and because there is like a lot of tension going on, especially like after like the Trump Zelensky meeting with JD Vance, is that there is a worry that if Ukraine falls, then Russia might actually do like an offensive against the Baltics, and that the only way to like guarantee peace for the region is for Ukraine to be able to survive and able to actually like defeat Russia. And it is kind of complicated, because there is pretty much like right now like a lot of talks about like maybe like sending NATO troops to Ukraine, or like not power force among like not necessarily NATO, but like at least like individual like European countries troops to Ukraine, along also to like create like a new like European military framework that is actually outside of the scope of NATO. Uh, After especially like the situation with Trump and whatnot.
Yeah. Do you think Britain and France are the acceptable members to kind of, if this deal was to happen, this peace settlement in Ukraine, do you think Britain and France should send their troops?
My opinion on the matter is that I do believe that we need to find a way to like avoid war directly with Russia. I think that will be extremely destructive. I will say that I do not like the idea. Like I understand the idea, but I'm not exactly a big fan of the idea of putting like our countries in a situation that will make it easier to one of us to actually invoke Article 5. I will say that observing that, for example, the Russians are using like North Korean soldiers as volunteer, well, they got volunteer into it. I would say that one thing that, for example, Europe could do is not necessarily actually send like troops directly to Ukraine, but rather allow volunteers to participate in the war. And not, I don't only speak like, for example, only like as military advisors, but like being able to even like fight in it, but under the Ukrainian flag and not under like any of the flags of any of the NATO members, and it will be 100% like a. It will have to be like a voluntary force.
Yeah, yeah. No, totally, totally. Um, that
Yeah,
I it is imperative that um it is imperative that they get this fucking deal going because there's still strikes going on in Ukraine. There's still drones. The just because they say there's a ceasefire does not mean ceasefire, right? Like it's
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
so I do kind of fancy the idea, but I do think that it may be true that maybe Putin is just buying time, you know? Like maybe he's just how do you say it? Like maybe he's just preparing like another offensive, or like maybe he's just letting these talks go on so that he can have more ground in Ukraine, you know? Like it's hard to say though, right? Like it's hard to say.
I mean, I will say that if Russia decided to attack, I do have a little doubt that Russia will actually attack a NATO country, just because they have already lost so much with the Ukrainian war. Like, whatever thing that they can get out of this conflict will have come at a very high price. It will have been an extremely Pyrrhic victory, especially with all the losses that they've suffered. And if that was just with Ukraine, imagine what it would be with like the combined forces of Europe, even without counting the United States, you know. And
Sure, sure, sure.
that's why I am actually kind of skeptical, and I hope I'm right. I am skeptical of the idea that Russia is going to be stupid enough to attack a NATO country.
Um, yeah, I think I don't think they would either. Um, I just think it's interesting that like during history, bro, Russia occupied Europe. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, are you talking about like the Cold War?
Yeah, yeah, like it's weird that they like occupied Europe for a good while, you know?
Yeah.
Um, bro, I wanted to tell you some of these events that happened not too long ago in Ukraine because there is a ceasefire, right? But the thing is that it doesn't mean nothing.
Yeah.
Just 8 hours ago, the Russian Ministry of Defense claimed occupation of Velisivka, village of Sumy region of Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
Um, there was 5 people wounded of a missile strike in in a place I can't fucking pronounce. But dude, they have like pictures of what happens in this conflict, bro, and it's remarkable.
Do you have it? You want to send it to me through a Brave so I can share it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just it's ridiculous, man. Let me send it to you right now.
Yeah. I mean, it is part of the reason, like, right now, like, the big powerhouse, militarily speaking, here in Europe is actually Poland.
Poland's Poland is gangsters, bro. They're gangsters.
Yeah. No, I know, like, they actually spend like 4 to 5% of their GDP on their military, and they also spend money on, they're actually thinking about, like, introducing a mandatory military service for males over the age of 18,
Yeah.
you know. And this kind of goes back to like that, because Poland has traditionally been a country that has fought a lot in order to like, actually remain being a country. So for them, like this is actually like an existential crisis.
Well,
Siewski.
Poland has definitely been fucked over by both Europe and Russia. So I think Poland are the most ready because they're the most cynical.
Absolutely, you know. I mean, it's part of the reason why, for example, they're like one of the countries that, for example, like they rejected the concept of like accepting. They can reject like they reject like the concept of like accepting like the migration and refugee waves. and they're also pretty much like one of the countries that, for example, like keeps buying a lot of like American military equipment.
Sure, sure, sure. Um, bro, did you get that link?
Yeah, it's the interactive map, isn't it? I have it here.
Yeah, yeah. And so, like 9 hours ago, a Russian drone stroke yesterday evening increased to 22.4 people killed, and it gives you like a little a picture, right? So this is just a really good interactive map for those that really are interested in following, the conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I mean,
Follow these kind of things. Imagine if we were able to do this in World War II.
I would say, it's like I do have like okay, I think like the best ending possible for this conflict is, at least realistically speaking, is Ukraine has to sit will have to like cede territory, and I know that absolutely sucks. No country ever wants to do that. Whether or not they should actually like recognize it as Russian territory from now on, that's another question. But the big red line for like most of Europe and for Ukraine is without any doubt that Ukraine needs to be able to like be able to like join the alliance, so they can actually like start like the process of like becoming part of like the European Union, be part of like the structure of like the quote unquote liberal world order.
Bro, that's some balls. That's some balls to say, man.
Yes, but
I'm gonna have to push back. I'm gonna have to push back.
yes, but no, that's because here's the thing: Russia has often, more than often than not, demonstrated to be unreliable when it comes to like respecting like treaties.
Of
I think they
course.
have violated like 10 ceasefire treaties or like non-aggression treaties in the last like 10 years, along with
Yeah.
like, for example, what they've done in countries like Georgia, along with, for example, the betrayal that they've done against Armenia when Armenia lost like Nagorno-Karabakh, you know. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the thing is
For
like
sure. For sure.
we cannot assume that Russia is going to respect any treaty. And that's why, the only way for Ukraine in order to like guarantee a long-term peace, it would be for Ukraine to be able to join NATO, or maybe there needs to be like a new like security structure outside of NATO that involves more European countries like Poland and France.
Um, well, I do think that the world has become a multipolar world and that the divisive line is traditional worldview versus postmodern worldview. I do think there's an alignment happening right now of countries that are going to be postmodern and countries that are going to be traditional. And I think the United States, so long as with Trump, is going to hop on the traditional side, along with Russia and along a lot of Arabic countries. Um, but I think the postmodern countries, man, like the EU, um, are and like Canada, maybe Britain, but like it's just weird this separation, the separation of what's happening.
Yeah.
I do think Russia, like you said, what you said is completely valid. I just wonder, is it for a good reason?
The thing is, the moment that you throw like first of all, we do need to consider Russia. It is an oligarchic country. It is essentially a dictatorship. And the thing is, like, I do need to like push against like also like people who say that the Russia country is better or like whatever system is better, because oftentimes that opinion comes from people who have never actually lived in these countries. Life in Russia is tough. I can only
Yeah,
imagine it.
it's
Life in
rough.
Venezuela is tough. life in Ireland is
Yeah,
tough.
it's very tough over there.
Yeah, yeah, like, and that's the thing is like, no, you do not want to live under a system like Russia. That is just not something that is actually. I will not wish anyone to live on that. I will not wish to anyone to like live in like the way I actually see it more is that Russia kind of forms part of like this sort of like yes anti-Western authoritarian powers, you know, but it is also kind of like outside of like the scope of like countries like India or China because yes, these are countries that are authoritarian. They do not have political liberty,
True.
but at the very least, there's actually like an increase in the quality of life of the people, at least in average, you know. Like it is actually possible to like, go on with your life and actually see like an improvement in your life, you know. Like yeah, maybe for example, a country like Kuwait is, you know, there's like a law, like a political, but you can live in there in peace and pretty comfortably. But a country, for example, like Russia, it is a country in which you will actually observe a situation in which you will have like an oligarchy that is actually living at the mercy, like at the mercy of like the general population,
For
you know,
sure.
and that is actually also something that you see also like in Iran and in Venezuela, and where you actually have the worst situation ever, which you have political repression, and you have like a worsening of the material quality of life of the people.
Yeah, man. It's that one's it's tricky, you know. It's always been tricky. Um, I I think we need to follow this a little more, and because there's gonna be so much things that are gonna happen, especially come the weather's getting better, and that means that the war is either gonna go faster or it's gonna completely stop. In my perspective, um, because once the weather gets good, things get rolling again. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
and but anyways, man, I think we should end the segment with maybe covering a little bit of Mexico and the border in the U.S. And I think we'll be good. But I have something interesting right here. So Trump has invoked the Alien Enemies Act, which employs a 227-year-old law to expel hundreds of Venezuelan men to El Salvador's feared prison system without due process, and in likely defiance of a judicial order to divert the aircraft carrying them. What do you think about this, man? That's kind of crazy, right?
All I'm thinking about is that maybe I should become a Trump supporter because next year I'm actually moving to Florida. You know, because yeah, I'm gonna start doing my life in there, and I'm just kind of worried about my migration because I do have a Spanish passport, but it says that I was born in Venezuela there, so I'm a little bit paranoid.
Well, I mean, just do it right. Just come over here right. That's it.
Yeah, so I will say Trump 2028, make America even greater again. I don't know.
Bro, I think it's crazy that El Salvador is accepting these. It's obviously. I think that's G, bro. I think El Salvador and the United States are making good connections, bro. Even though it's kind of controversial.
It is kind of part of like that whole culture war thing going on, which I honestly detest, but we cannot escape it. But it is not as paradoxical as the relationship between the United States and Argentina. Because Trump is what we would call actually like economics sovereigntist. You know, he believes in tariffs, he believes in protectionism.
Yeah.
He definitely believes that the state actually should like be more involved in the private economy. whereas Milei is pretty much a liberal and pretty radical in his liberal at that. So it is actually interesting that these two ideologies, which are the opposite of each other, but that there is kind of like this alliance going on. Also, like by my window, there was actually like a military truck with a French flag passing by. That's interesting.
What?
Yeah, there was a military truck with a French flag.
Oh, with the French flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, they're about to go to Ukraine, man. They're freaking.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that if European soldiers, some of them, if they were offered the opportunity, I think they will actually go and volunteer in Ukraine because there are people who are just like that, you know?
Yeah, they just have that kind of perspective.
Yeah.
Bro, there's also going to be this is pretty interesting, man, because I think we talked about this before, but there's going to be a supposed planning buffer zone between um in the border, pretty much at the border. So it's going to be a location where soldiers can hold migrants and people can wait there. um we talked about this. Well, I mentioned it, and I think a lot of people have talked about it. But there has to be some sort of buffer zone in the border because um, you can. A buffer zone, what it does is that it allows people to be constrained, but that they also have resources. They have bathrooms, stuff like that. So instead of being lost in the desert, right? But it also keeps bad people away, because there's security.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I do believe that someday, like, North America might actually have a treaty of freedom of movement, but I think that is only going to happen insofar that Mexico is actually able to, like, resolve its cartel situation and its criminality situation, and also, like, be able to develop its economy enough so that when that day happens, America doesn't suddenly see itself flooded with, like, millions of people coming into it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's sacrilege, bro. That's fucking sacrilege. I'm an American. I don't take that shit, man. No one can come to this fucking country free. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, bro,
But
just remember the state be Spanish territory, so Uy, I'm just saying it's I'm just saying that it has original owners, you know?
fucking hit at my soft spot. That's something that we all have to. If you're in New Mexico, you're gonna have to take that fact. You are in Spanish territory. Yeah, I mean it was native territory, but like the natives took it from each other, so it's like fuck, man. I don't even know whose it is anymore.
Hmm. I mean, yeah, but I mean it's interesting because it is true that America and Spain they used to be at war with each other, and yeah, we they pretty much took away like our last islands. Damn it.
Bro, y'all got y'all's ass handed to y'all, bro.
It's like, bro, it's fucking bullshit. Fucking
Yeah,
bullshit,
dude, y'all got rocked, dude.
man. Ugh. A part of me says like I really need to immigrate to America, but another part of me says that I need to protect
Traitor.
the.
Another part is like traitor.
Uh,
Nah, dude. You need to come to United States. Come to United States.
I mean, pretty much, yeah. You know, it's like what is going to happen. I think is that Julia and I were actually gonna get married, so pretty much you can say that Julia is actually my fiance right now.
All right, just end the stream, bro. Just end the stream.
Yeah. Okay. Goodbye,